Team 3, spread out to the right, isolate the center. Maintain hose pressure, just hold on a little longer.
30 meters ahead, the fire line is intensifying. Secure your escape route.
여기는 광안리 해수욕장입니다. 흙으로 된 비가 내리고 있는데요. 자연재해가 정말 심각해지고 있습니다.
It's already making landfall.
Get the mayor on the line, now! We have to get out of here now!
This is an emergency. The seismic intensity has exceeded dangerous levels.
We have breaking news. The World Health Organization has officially declared a global pandemic linked to an unknown ancient pathogen.
Is facing a grave climate crisis. The time has come for humanity to find a new home among the stars.
Okay,
secure. Diagnostics check.
Running diagnostics now. All systems green.
Wiring integrity confirmed on this section.
T-minus 30 seconds and counting. All systems are go.
All stations, this is flight. Final pre-sequence check.
T-minus 10.9.08.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Flight status is nominal.
Biometric data received. All crew vitals are within normal parameters.
External sensor check in progress. No anomalies detected.
This ice sheet is immense. Proceed with caution.
Base, we've reached the anomaly. Proceeding with primary scan.
Good. Readings are all within spec.
Solid batch. Let's get these logged and prep for transport.
Houston, panel alignment sequence initiated.
Roger that. Tranquility. All systems nominal.
Okay, run the diagnostics on the primary filtration unit.
Copy that. Diagnostics initiated.
All systems appear nominal on my end.
Roger that. Checking the intake valves now.
Oxygen levels stable. Proceeding with system check.
Roger that. Telemetry looks good on my end.
Rover 1, report status on Sector Gamma.
All systems nominal. Proceeding with survey.
stable on tank alpha.
Roger that. Monitoring flow rate.